Welcome to the Evolution of Self. I'm your host, Isabel Palacios, and this is the Taking Back Your Power podcast. Hello, my beautiful angels, and welcome to this new episode of Taking Back Your Power. I am your host, Isabel Palacios, and if you're new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. So I am really excited. I think this is the first time in a long time that I'm truly excited for a new year. And when I was younger, I used to get really excited. Like in my late teens, early 20s, I used to go all out for the new year. I remember on my YouTube channel, I would post these New Year motivational videos. I think you can still find them from like way back 2014, 2015. I think that since 2020 and kind of the aftermath of 2020 and all the changes we've been through as a collective, it's kind of easy to get jaded. I think that's how I have felt since this decade started, is kind of jaded and didn't really look forward to the future, or kind of looking forward to the future, but kind of afraid, like what is next? What's going to happen on a mass scale? What is going to happen that is completely out of our control and can disrupt our lives in such a fundamental way? It kind of leaves you with the question of what's going to happen? What's next? What is going to come and disrupt our lives in such a crazy way like it did in 2020? So I think 2025, I am feeling just an extreme level of optimism, not just because things are going a certain way, whether it's current events or doing any better or politics is doing it's not even any of that. It's because I've gotten to this place of knowing myself, having my relationship with God, getting my house in order, where I feel like the focus has been shifted from saying, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Fear of the future, to actually, I'm going to focus in on what's in my control. And one thing that I have really learned the power of, especially this past year in 2024, is the power of just getting started. Just start. No matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter what has happened, no matter what can happen, just get started now. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is something that I really learned from the example of my husband. He is a starter. He starts and he doesn't think, he's impulsive, but it's not an impulsivity that's just crazy. I think he sees opportunity and he goes for it. And he doesn't overthink. He doesn't let naysayers or doubters stop him. He just goes. And I used to be very cautious about the way he was. I used to kind of just observe him and sometimes say, you need to be careful, until I actually started to study his methods. I think that he is a genius in so many ways, but the thing that really makes him an effective person in his life and in his relationships is the fact that he just goes for it. And as I have observed him, it's not a crazy thing the way he does it. It's almost like, I'm at least going to try it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Or I can see how I can fix things or how I can go about things so that they do work out. And I watch him and I see how he is in business, especially. And I've never met anyone like him. I've never seen anyone. The people who I've seen that have been successful in business so far are people who are very risk adverse. My husband has this fierce optimism. And sometimes things go wrong, but the thing about him is that when things go wrong, he doesn't get hung up on them. He goes on to the next thing and he continues. He is quick to want to learn something new. He's not afraid of being a beginner in anything that he does. And if it doesn't work, at least I tried it, and moves on to what does work or what has been proven. And this is why he has been successful, is because he has this ability to just start and go. And whether it's projects around the house, whether it's in business, whether it's in anything, he doesn't overthink the start. And this goes completely against what I have found to be true for myself is that I would say I have to see all the risks. I have to study before I get into it. But his method is I'm going to get into it. And then along the way, I'll learn and figure things out. So I have actually started implementing this in my life because I said, you know what? I can tend to be a person that overthinks the process. I can tend to be a person that won't start until it's all perfect. I have a huge level of perfectionism. So being with somebody like him has been extremely healing. It's been extremely eye-opening to the possibilities of so many things. And it's motivational to be around somebody like that. And some people might say, oh my God, that's crazy. I couldn't be able to deal with somebody like that. But to be honest, when you have been stuck in a cycle of perfectionism or a cycle of maybe it's even imposter syndrome, or you've been stuck in this place of telling yourself, I can't do something, or I'm too old, or I'm too poor, or I'm too fat, or I'm too whatever, right? When you're stuck in this place that I'll wait when this and this and this is perfect, or when I get to this point, or I'll wait till next year, or I'll wait till January 1st, or I'll wait till my birthday, I'll wait till all these arbitrary deadlines are met, then I'll start. You're only putting blockages in your way. You don't have to be like my husband in order to succeed, right? You don't have to be exactly like that. But taking in the idea of just getting started and getting started with what you have, where you are, and enjoying that process as you learn. Enjoy being a beginner. Enjoy being a novice because so much is learned through that. If you continue to take the same road and you may say, actually, the path I've been on has been working for me. Well, then maybe this podcast isn't for you. But if you have been on a path and it hasn't been working for you and you're ready to shift, you're ready for a pivot, don't wait till January 1st. Listen right now as you are listening to this podcast. Decide to start. If it's a book you've been wanting to write that book. If it's a podcast you've been wanting to start that podcast. No matter if you have to have the perfect setup or the perfect microphone or the perfect audio, video, camera, lighting, it doesn't have to be perfect. And this is something I had to learn for myself because for a long time, I stalled the formation of this podcast to come back in video because for so many years it was in audio. But I stalled coming back in video because I was nitpicking every single thing about myself, about my background. My background had to be like this and like that. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to design a whole new podcast studio in order for me to start. Because what's the main thing? It's the message. And there's so many people who have simple podcast backgrounds or simple video backgrounds and they're killing it. So what matters is the content, is getting started and putting yourself out there. And it's kind of like making videos. Your first few videos are going to suck. Maybe they won't. Who knows? Maybe you make beautiful videos from the start. But what I'm saying is that the majority of people, when they start something, is not going to be perfect. But the main point is to simply start. Go in this new direction. Stop overthinking the process and figure out as you go. It's like the adage goes, nobody knows what they're doing. There may be people who look like they have it all together or they have it all figured out. Nobody has it all figured out. Nobody knows what tomorrow may bring. I'm a firm believer in taking steps in faith. That's why I'm so excited about 2025. Not because I know what's going to happen. There's no visible proof of knowing how 2025 is going to go. But I do have so much faith, not only faith in myself and my abilities, but also faith in God to illuminate each step moving forward, to illuminate what I need to do. And it's in that faith that things become clearer. I have noticed is that the luckiest people aren't lucky at all. They just take steps in the direction they want to go into. And they don't miss opportunities. And they don't have a fear of failure. failure is not even an option. Why? Not because they won't fail, but because they don't view things as failures. They view what we would call a failure as simply a redirection, as simply a sign, maybe this isn't what was right for me, or this isn't what's going to work for me. And I noticed that in very successful people, and people not only successful financially, but also happy people. I think that for me, success is not just monetary or about achievements or about material things, but for me, success is people who are happy, who are at peace, who are doing something that they love, who enjoy what they do, even if it's something menial, something with their hands, they actually enjoy and they're passionate about what they do. Those people, they don't get hung up on their failures. And I also feel this greatly for 2025. Those of you who decide to shut off the outside noise and listen to your God-given intuition, focus on your home or what's in your four walls, even if it's a dorm room, even if it's a small apartment, even if it's your car. Those who will focus on what's in their control will be the winners in 2025 and beyond. Those that shut off the outside noise and stop letting their emotions be dependent on the next election or what their favorite superstar is doing or what their friends are doing or what their cousin said about them or maybe what people online say about them. Those that are able to shut that off and get started in something that they've been holding off on are the ones who will create change and do great things with their lives and feel the most fulfillment. So it's not about setting New Year's resolutions. It's not even about writing down your list of goals, which I believe in writing down lists of goals. But the main thing is to get started on those goals, taking one step forward. I am huge on the compound effect, right? One little unit will eventually add up into a bunch of units and a bunch of change in the direction you wish to go into. But what's so important is that you let go of all that's not in your control, which are external events, people's words, people's actions, how people treat you. None of that is in your control. And let go of the fear of failure. And don't be afraid of being a novice. If it has to do with your fitness, don't be afraid of being the person in the gym that doesn't know how to use a machine. We were all there once, whether we were 14 or we were 45. We were all once in that place where we didn't know how to use a machine. But then we learned. And then that machine started to help us build muscle. Everyone was once a beginner. And it does not matter at what age you start. What's important is that you get started. And yes, people will laugh, people will scoff, people will try to bring you down, but that's just because when people haven't reached their dreams or their fullest potential, or they have failed at something and they've given up, they want to often, not everyone, but often people will want to tell you why you can't do something or why it's impossible for you. And we cannot let that type of negativity into our lives. Your life is too precious to allow those naysayers to have control over your mind, over your spirit, and over your future. Cut out the noise as fast as you can do it. It's better to be alone most of the time when you're working on your goals, but if you choose not to be alone, surround yourself and choose the right people to be around you. And I don't mean surrounding yourself with yes men, but surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals who are also on missions and are here to uplift, not to bring down. We have to sharpen each other. We have to build each other up. We have to hold each other accountable to our goals and even call each other out when we're drifting away from our goals and drifting away from our vision. And it's really important that you get clear on your vision. You get clear on what it is that you are going to work towards in this new year. Because if you're unclear and you're lost, you're not going to be effective. So choose one thing, choose one project even that you feel like you've been wanting to put off? I have one in mind, but I'm not going to talk about it right now because I believe in keeping things to myself until I reach a certain milestone in it. So I haven't actually told my family or anyone around me about what I'm doing. I'm keeping it very close to the chest. But I feel like whenever I tell people about things that I'm working on, it gets kind of clouded and muddy. And I don't want to hear too much outside opinions, and not just because it's a bad thing or anything like that, but I just want things to be crystal clear. So that's why I'm not telling you mine. But for past years, for example, starting this podcast up in 2024 was on my New Year's goals, was in my plan, and I did it. I did it a little late in the year, but I did it. And that's something I'm really grateful for. Years prior to that, it was about being a mother, right? Getting into this place in motherhood, feeling more at ease and more natural in motherhood, and not fighting motherhood, but actually enjoying it. That was definitely a theme for other New Year's, especially when my daughter was a baby. So for everyone and for every season of life, it'll look different. I think a big one as well for me this year will also be a fitness goal as well. And not just a goal, but a trajectory, a vision towards what I want it to look like. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's kind of like when I talked about my winter arc a couple of episodes back. I talked about getting started now, right? Getting started now at the beginning of, in the fall, beginning of winter, not waiting until January 1st, just getting started with where you are. And I'm glad I did that because it has been such a nice transition. It hasn't been like change all at once, right? That's unsustainable. It has been a gradual shift into a healthier body, into a healthier spirit, and into healthier habits, which has been just amazing for me and my mental health. So doesn't mean that I'm already where I want to be, but I am working towards it. And I'm in that direction. I'm in that energy. So get started. If you cannot think of a New Year's resolution, again, I don't like to call them resolutions, but if you can't think of a goal or a vision for 2025, just think of that one project that you have been putting off. Maybe it was painting your walls. Just think of that one thing and get started right now. Don't wait for January 1st. Do it now. And it doesn't have to start. If you're listening to this podcast way later, just because you missed January 1st doesn't mean that you can't start your life anew at any time. It is never too late. You are never too old. It's never going to be the right time. The only right time is right now. So thank you so much for tuning in, my beautiful angels. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, leave comments. I love to hear from you, your feedback. And if you have any requests, I'd love to hear from you as well. And as always, my beautiful angels, no matter who you may be in this life, no matter what you may be going through or what you look like, always remember your true beauty, your true worth, and your true power always come from within. I love you, and I will see you in another episode of Taking Back Your Power. Bye-bye.